Yo, what's good, guys? It's Proud by Honor coming at you guys with a brand new video. And today we're gonna be doing a quickie. It's gonna be how to make some melodic dart melodies like Cubeatz, Al Hug, those types of people. So let's get it. So the first sound I started with is this piano starter. So what I like to do sometimes is to make a starter in a separate project and then sit on it for a couple of days and then work on it later. So this is how I did it. So basically, I just played this simple progression, chord progression in FL Studio on my MIDI keyboard using this contact library called Vintage Upright Main. It's really fire, sounds super realistic, and this is what it sounds like. So what I do for my starters is I have three different versions of the same thing just for variation. And then what I like to do when I'm done with the arrangement of the actual MIDI, I run this through my guitar pedal detune. Next, we're gonna get into the actual main project where I actually made the sample. So here's the main project window, and just for starters, I'll show you guys what is the sample we're going to be working with today. So, as you guys know, the first section of the loop is actually this piano. So without any effects, it's going to be the way it was in the previous project file. So what I added on it is a little bit of compression for the Fairchild. Just taking up like 1 or 2 dB of compression. Put a capital chambers reverb, 2 EQs doing the same low cut basically. So the next part is this perk loop. And I'll show you guys how I made it. What's good about FL is it lets you make drum samples really quickly. So what I did was, it sounds very different from the first thing I did, but so basically I exported this and ran it through this. And I pitched it up 12 cents just to put the halftime so it will be at the same pitch. Put some capital chambers and some EQ. Then I just lowered the volume. And together with the piano, it gives it some movement. The next part is the bass. So the bass is from the Rickenbacher bank, and it only has 2 things on it. Dry sounds like this. So I added this bass amp from Ampeg to boost it a little bit and give it some crunch. And then I lowered high cut on the parametric EQ. And a little bit about the MIDI. The MIDI, what you want to do with the bass is have certain notes that overlap, like here. If I had it like, it sounds very unrealistic, but like this, sounds more natural. And I didn't even change the velocities. I should have, but I didn't. Then the horn section. So what I have is, they're from the same bank called Spaghetti Western. I have the trumpet, then I have the cornet. I really have super simple processing on this. Just a preamp, just making it a little bit louder. A plate reverb, S1, just panning it a little bit to the side, and then a simple EQ, just cutting out the lows. The second part, what I have it layering. So you might not catch it in the sample, but it really does add a little bit of texture on the final notes. It's really cool to add these little small textures just to make the sample feel a little bit more realistic and have a little bit more body. So together, this whole section sounds like this. So then the next section is the strings. It's just coming from the Hans Zimmer strings. So it's going to be the violins, and then it's going to be also the cello section all in one longs. And the next one. So they're doing the same pattern, just one octave up. As well, I pan one to the right, one to the left. This one just has a Neve preamp and an EQ. The other one just has an EQ. For the reverb, I like to consolidate sometimes when I'm trying to make them sound in the same room. So I added just this capital chamber and I bust them, and it just makes it sound a little bit more cohesive when you're trying to use the same string element. The last part of the sound is this small choir. I think this is called Solo Boy Soloist Benedict. So this didn't sound like this at the beginning. First it sounded like this. This one really has no processing. So the whole processing on this one is just an EQ. But what I did interesting, when I sent the channel, I sent it all the way. It's drowned in reverb, so it's going to be way in the background. So it's just adding texture to those strings. And together it sounds like this. And then for this section, all I did was pitch it up 100 cents. And sometimes when you do that with, especially with the shallow water detune, or if you use a VST and you detune it super hard, when you pitch it up, it makes this weird wobbly noise, which is super cool. And with the bass, it's really, really cool section. Next parts are just iterations on the first three variations. So here, for instance, I just have one part of the strings and the boy soloist. Here, I have just the horns and the piano. And I just like to change it up a little bit, just how I would like the beat to sound. And then for the master, yeah, I didn't add anything other than L2 maximizer. Next part in this video, I'm gonna be cooking up in the studio. So make sure you keep watching. Thank you for watching this loop tutorial slash cook-up. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully I showed some new sauce. Um, and I'm gonna be dropping some kits later as well, so keep in tune for that. One of them will be definitely free. So yeah, peace out, y'all.